And this time we are back with a juicy story, right? A juicy story. So this video came across my desk where this guy, he apparently went to like some type of initiation party. And it's supposed to be like one of those huge parties where before you can become famous, you have to indulge in all these different things to be able to, I guess, quote unquote, be in like the society, the secret society. So let's go ahead and play it. I'm not gonna talk too much. Let's get into it because y'all, when I heard this story and I was like, yeah, I know this is gonna be good. So let's get into it.
Like 2015-ish. So I wasn't a huge creator at the time, but I was there and around it all as all of that stuff was happening. I moved from Chicago to LA 3 weeks after high school with like $2,000 in my pocket that I saved up working at Steak and Shake with this other aspiring creator named David. I was much more into editing and being behind the camera at that time, and he was much more into Vine and vlogs and being on camera. That time of our lives was absolutely crazy. Everybody was broke, posting anything we could onto YouTube to get some attention. I happened to get a spot at the now notorious 1600 Vine apartments, and David got a spot a little bit closer to USC. Everyone was collaborating with everyone, and it was the era of clickbait YouTube. And to be honest, it was extremely fun for the first few months, until Hollywood started to notice that influencers were the next big thing, and that the landscape of the industry was changing. And we started to get invited to more exclusive parties and events, where it seemed as if old Hollywood was almost grooming new Hollywood. And there was rumors of this one gathering that was happening on a monthly basis, where it seemed like anybody that got invited saw a massive jump in their numbers, secured huge brand deals right after attending. But apparently this gathering worked on a buddy system. Someone had to vouch for you and bring you as a guest. And by blind luck, me and David ended up getting invited. Some talent agents saw me and David shoot a silly skit at a random party. He didn't invite us that second, he just told us that he saw something special in us and took our contact information. And listen, people do that all the time in LA, but this guy had a different feel to him. He wasn't trying to convince us he had connections or hype himself up like everybody else does. He was just super calm and had a sharp way of speaking that demanded respect. He was extremely brief, and after getting our numbers, he just said, "Look out for the invite," and walked away. And this is where it gets weird. I never gave this guy my address, I only gave him my number. But I ended up getting an invitation by letter. And at the time...
Sorry, y'all. Red flag number one. If you get an invite at your place and you've never gave your address or information out, that's a red flag number one. I don't care how hype you are to get invited to an exclusive party. Creepy is creepy. I've never been one of those people where I'm like, oh, it's something that has to do with celebrities and it has something to do with like wealthy people, and I'm just gonna bypass the creepiness and the red flags and just get excited and go to wherever I'm invited to. Nah, creepy is creepy. It don't matter whether you rich, poor, famous or not. Creepy is creepy. So red flag number one. But let's finish up. Let's see what else is he talking about.
I thought that was so cool. But in retrospect, as an adult looking back at it, that alone was a huge violation of privacy and a major red flag. But at the time, when I tell you I was absolutely buzzing with excitement. When I got it, the letter was so extravagant and detailed. It was gold with black and red lettering that read something like, "Your talents have been noted, your name has been endorsed, and I'll never forget this part. The dreams you have been chasing are a night away through the seventh heaven." And the address was a beautiful home in Laurel Canyon that was set to happen that weekend. It also noted to not be a minute late and not to expect to leave before midnight. And at the time, it felt like the Willy Wonka golden ticket. And the excitement doubled when I got a text from David at the same time, in all caps saying, "Did you get one too?" I felt like our lives were about to change. And I was right. David blew up after this party, and I had to go into hiding. I felt like our lives were about to change. And I was right. David blew up after this party, and I had to go into hiding. When I tell you I was on cloud 9 leading up to that party, I mean it. I was so young and naive and delusionally optimistic. I truly believed that I was going to go to this party and leave rich, because it literally seemed like that was happening to the creators around me that attended. I was hyped. I've never been a braggy person, but when you're young and excited, you get consumed by good news and want to talk to your friends and peers about it. So everybody that I chatted with who I knew was a content creator and was in the know about this party, I couldn't help but to tell them. And all the feedback was positive and along the lines of, "Let me know how it goes," or "Can you try to get me into the next one?" And even some from bigger creators saying, "I'll see you there," with like a little smirk on their face, like they were pumped for me. Except for one conversation with a creator that most of you probably know. This creator is an extremely positive guy, and he's one of the most wholesome, bubbly, genuine guys I met out there. And when I told him the good news, he looked at me like I told him a tsunami was headed towards the building. The usual joy that
Okay, y'all, I'm not gonna stop it too much, I promise, but I be just, this information is wild, because I'm gonna say this, y'all. As much as I would like to think that I wouldn't go, I probably still would have went, because I'm the type of person where I'll go and I'll see what's up, and then if stuff look a little too shady or look a little off or just some don't sit right with me, then I'll bounce. So I'm gonna give this guy some grace, because when you young and things are exciting and your friends are going to it, you, even if you skeptical, you still like, okay, well, I'm gonna see, I can always leave. But that's also dangerous too, y'all. So learn from, if you younger watching this video, learn from us older people who's been through it. Like, and I'm not that old, but you know, learn from older people who has like past high school and all that other stuff, and past, you know, college and stuff. If it just sounds too good to be true, just don't even do it, because you got some places where you go and it sounds nice and you go, and you never know what these people can do to you. You know, you can end up going somewhere and getting seriously and being in some real danger. So even curiosity killed the cat. So just, if you're curious, just, I don't want to say don't go, but don't go. But you probably gonna go anyway. But definitely, if you see something weird, just bounce.
This man brought to every conversation turned into real fear and concern. And he made me leave the lobby and come up to his apartment before explaining anything to me. Like he was scared that somebody was gonna overhear our conversation. When we got up to his apartment, he was just pacing. Like he had no idea how to start this conversation. But when he finally spoke up, all he said was, "Listen, Doug, I know you're excited, but I'm begging you, please do not go. That man is not who you think he is." He was being so frantic, and I could see tears welling up in this guy's eyes. But I was young, and I thought that I knew everything. I didn't even think the talent agent that sent us the invite was important. I was interested in the connections, and I didn't really care if the talent agent was shady, or if his intention was to sign me to a bad deal. I thought I'd just say no to any bad contract that he tried to send me, but still get to reap all the benefits of the party. So I tried to pry a little bit and ask follow-up questions, but all he gave me was, "I have a friend who went, and he hasn't been the same since he didn't cooperate. I don't know what he saw or what they did to him, but Doug, I do not want to see that happen to you. I don't know what he saw or what they did to him, but Doug, I do not want to see that happen to you." I start reassuring him that they won't make me do anything that I don't want to do. I don't even drink, let alone take any party favors. So peer pressure isn't much of an issue for me. I make up a lie to get out of the situation, because to be honest, I selfishly wanted to stay excited about this party, and I really didn't want to hear anything negative about it. So I jokingly told him that I'd text him when I got home, and that I had to leave to edit some videos tonight. What I was really doing was calling my dad to beg him for $100 to buy a rental suit. Mind you, we were all still poor, and I was living in an apartment that I could barely afford. My dad reluctantly sent me the money, and I immediately texted David to pick me up tomorrow at 5 p.m. so we could both get our suits before the party, and grab food before we head to the party at 11. When David picked me up the next day, he was so excited and in such a great mood that I had to hide my concerns from him, at least while we were shopping for the rental suits. I had to manufacture excitement because David always has his camera out, and I wouldn't just be spoiling the mood, I would be ruining the content that he was trying to record. So I went along with it throughout the shopping process. Our plan was to drop his car off at my apartment, walk to the In-N-Out Burger on Sunset Boulevard, eat, and then change into our suits in the bathroom and hop into the Uber, so we didn't smell like burgers. When we finally sat down to eat, I took that opportunity to bring up the warning that my friend gave me the day before in his apartment. I told him everything that he said to me, and how scared he looked when he said it, and that I was feeling a little bit worried about going to this party.
I'm gonna pause it right there, y'all. Just a quick message. And I talked about this in one of my videos not too long ago, maybe like yesterday or the day before yesterday, that God always give you signs. Now, whether we choose to take those signs or take those red flags is up to us. But one thing we can never say is that God did not warn us, because this guy, he got a warning from another guy, and that was God's first step to, probably his first step to warning him, you know, out in the open, like, this is not a good idea. You know, a lot of times we get ourselves into situations that we can't get out of, and then we be upset at God and be like, "God, why did I go through this? Why, like, are you even listening to me? Do you even care?" And we have to take accountability that our own actions and our own disobedience also gets us in these situations, whether we feel like we are good people or not. Disobedience can have you in a jacked up situation, especially when the Lord is trying to warn you. So that was definitely one of his biggest warnings from God. And he, being young and excited, rightfully so, at that moment, he ignored that sign. You know, it was on his mind, but he still ignored it. So let's finish it up.
David cut me off before I even got to finish my sentence, and firmly said we're going, and then went on a rant about how my friend is a jealous clout chaser, and that he's just salty that his content isn't good enough, and would never be invited to something like this. He said it in a half-serious, half-joking tone like he always does when he wants to get his way. Then he finished off by guilting me and saying, "Doug, don't ruin this opportunity for us. Please just get through this party for me." I'd never heard
Watch who your friends are. Pick your friends wisely.
Nobody talk about my friend that way, but I'd known David for so much longer, so I trusted his judgment. So I nodded my head and called the Uber. We changed in the bathrooms and hopped into the Uber, and David starts recording again. So I have to pretend to be excited again. But once we got off the side streets and started driving up Laurel Canyon, I started getting anxious and internally panicking. If you're not familiar with Laurel Canyon, it's filled with beautiful homes, but at night it's extremely dark and borderline freaky, especially when you consider all the history with the Manson murders in that area. Part of me feels like we're dropping ourselves off into a setup, but once we arrive, all of my worries get washed away. We pull into the driveway and this house is beautiful and extravagant. And everyone waiting in line to walk in is smiling and laughing and friendly. So I get excited again. At the door, they take our phones and have us sign an NDA, which isn't uncommon in house parties like this in LA. And they give us a mask and a name tag with funny aliases. My mask looked like a bear and David's looked like a bird. My alias was Stardust, which David got a crack out of. And his was Benji. We enter what you could call like the lobby of the house. And as we're walking in, the apparent host of the party starts giving a speech. This man is very eccentric and outspoken. And he's got the cadence of a late night show host. And I spot the agent that invited us standing right behind him. The speech was basically just encouraging everybody to have fun and explaining the itinerary of the night. Apparently this was a themed room party, and all of the guests were instructed to move to the next room whenever the grandfather clock chimed. He wrapped up his speech with some cheeky joke, and then one line that still irks me to this day. He said, "Have fun now. Our descent starts at midnight." I tried to give David the eyes that I didn't like where this party was going. This type of behavior from people that I saw as adults made me extremely uncomfortable. The moment the host wrapped up his speech, a couple of workers came out of the doorway. They were holding a couple sets of long poles. All of a sudden, music started playing and everybody seemed like they knew what was going on. So I just went along with it. So I guess these parties start off with a big game of limbo. It's funny seeing people dressed so nicely playing a silly child.
Y'all, I do not like spooky secrets. Like, if I go to a party, I need to know what's gonna happen. What are the events? What are we doing? Do I like to live on the moment? Yes. Am I very like spontaneous in certain situations? Absolutely. Like, I love doing things that catch me by surprise, but I don't like doing things where I feel like other people know what's going on and I just don't know what's going on because I'm new. Yeah, no, I don't trust my well-being in other people's hands like that, celebrity or not. So he was red flag. Red flag number 2, like legit, everything about him entering this party was rubbing him the wrong way. Like, God is really nudging him. Like, he's like, this ain't it. This ain't it. The spirit of God in him is like, this ain't it. This ain't it. This ain't it. And we still ignoring, you know, but keeping his eyes peeled, which is a good part. So when y'all go out to parties, I really wish y'all wouldn't, but when y'all go out to parties, this is why it is important for you to stay sober, not to be high, not to be drunk, because things like this can happen. You seen people were doing this and they were sober. So can you just imagine if people went drunk and high, that they would be taken advantage of and manipulated? And everybody think they so tough, and not everybody's tough like that. So, or at least vigilant enough to deny. People are, you know, sucked into peer pressure. And his friend also peer pressured him. He says that he's not the type to get peer pressured into anything, but his friend peer pressured him into going, even if he did feel uncomfortable. So get you some friends where if they feel uncomfortable, or if you feel uncomfortable, they respect your decision.
But it's even weirder seeing A-list celebrities being so excited to play. Because everybody had masks on, but when somebody that you grew up watching in movies walks by you with a quarter of their face covered, you still know it's them. I was amazed with how inviting and willing to introduce themselves these people were. I was expecting at least an undertone of uppityness in there, but it seemed like everybody was involving everybody in conversation, and they were frequently introducing themselves to me with their alias, of course. The only thing weird about it was something that I didn't notice until the third person did it. When they shook my hand, they pressed their thumb into the soft part between my thumb and my pointer finger. And I only recognized the pattern because...
What that mean, y'all? That's something I don't know. I don't know what it means when they press their thumb into your pointer finger. I'm not sure if that's ever happened to me before, but that sounds a little strange. So if y'all know what that means, put it in the comments.
The third guy gave me a big smile and said this must be your first time here. In retrospect, this should have alarmed me, but it seemed like they got friendlier when they realized that it was my first time here, so I didn't really think anything of it. But before I got to ask any follow-up questions about this odd handshake, the first grandfather clock chime went off, and everybody excitedly rushed into the second room. When I finally got in there, I was taken aback by the dramatic decor change. Everything in this room was different shades of blue. The music was romantic and all the furniture was cabana beds and love seats. I stood there for a second trying to realize what was different, but I couldn't put my finger on it until some girl walked by and caressed my shoulder in a really flirty manner. The decor changed, but the way everybody was acting was drastically different. Before, everybody seemed to be outgoing and inviting and friendly, but the second they stepped foot into this room, they became touchy, flirty, and suggestive. I was only 19 at the time, so this type of behavior from people that I saw as adults made me extremely uncomfortable, especially when I saw that the cabana beds had curtains that you could close for privacy. And I realized that these people weren't just being suggestive, they meant it. I tried to give...
I would have left the moment they was being touchy and flirty. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. I don't care if you're my favorite celebrity or not. Don't touch me. I would have left at that point, for sure. For sure. Stuff start happening where we getting physical. Yeah, I'm uncomfortable.
David the eyes that I didn't like where this party was going, but he seemed to be really enjoying the female attention, so I was on my own. I basically stayed in perpetual motion and walked laps until the next chime went off, so I didn't have to sit next to anybody for too long and let them get too comfortable. The clock finally went off and everybody rushed to the next room immediately. The weirdest part was the people that were in the private sections didn't even bother redressing except for the mask. I was in no rush to get to the next room, but I could see into it over the crowd of everybody's head. The walls were bright orange, but the smells that were wafting in from that room were amazing. And when I finally got in there, it was like the Hogwarts feast. It was table after table of the most delicious spreads I've ever seen. There was full tables for seafood, full tables for meats, full tables of sushi, and an entire wall of spirits. I almost started enjoying myself again. Until I saw the way these people were treating this food. They were disrespectfully biting chunks out of delicious prime rib roasts. They were just shoving copious amounts of high-grade sashimi into their mouths and eating caviar like it was cereal. The way that they were just grabbing with their hands and just spitting out things that they didn't like onto the floor ruined my appetite. At this point, I wanted nothing to do with these people. So I went up to the only familiar face in the room. The agent that invited me was the only other person not eating. So I approached him and lifted up my mask, so he'd recognize me considering we'd only met one time. Before I even got out my greeting or got my mask halfway off my face, he abruptly pressed my mask back into place and sharply said, "Mask stay on till the 6th room." He did it in a way that seemed like I was embarrassing him for not knowing the rules. So to ease the tension, I jokingly replied, "So we're only halfway there, huh?" He didn't laugh or make eye contact. He just dismissively replied, "I encourage you to engage in the festivities. A slow drip is better than a flood." He started to walk towards the door as the clock chimed for the next room, like he knew it was about to go off. I didn't like that interaction at all. He's the one that invited me here, and he seemed to have no interest in talking to me. I just kept going over what he said the entire time while we were in the next room. This room was yellow and basically just a casino. I wanted to talk to David privately and let him know that I wanted to leave, but he seemed to just be caught up in the momentum of the party. Plus, there was a roulette table in the room, and David's freakishly good at roulette. So at this point, the winning streak that he's building is the center point of the party. I can't fully focus on what the agent said to me because I have to pretend to be excited about David's winning streak in a fake casino where you're not actually winning money. And like clockwork, the chime goes off. The entire party starts rushing to the next room again, and the vibe changes dramatically. I'm the last person to walk into the bright red room. This room didn't seem to have a specific activity like the others. It was just empty and bright red, and everybody was whispering to each other. For a split second, I thought it might be a big game of telephone or something silly like that, but as I started walking through and brushing shoulders with these people and hearing what they were saying to each other, I started questioning everything. The same people that I saw laughing and celebrating and eating together were whispering the most heinous, offensive comments directly to each other. I mean things that you wouldn't even say behind your friend's back, they were saying it to their face. I'm talking friendship-ending secrets and personal opinions about each other laced with envy and jealousy. I hurried to a quiet corner because I was sick of hearing everybody's dirty laundry after walking around for a minute and a half. And it all clicked. I knew exactly what this party was. I see the host ask the first person in line a question before having them repeat something that he said. When I tell you I am done with this party, I'm absolutely not doing that. All the dots start connecting in my head while everybody's being horrible to each other around me. I'm trying to recap the whole night and remember the order of each room to solidify my suspicions. But the chime for the next room goes off. This time, everybody gets eerily quiet and calm, like they got all of their venom out. The host of the party announces for all of the newcomers to come to the front. All of the...
It's given 7 deadly sins. Guys, the enemy loves to pervert everything in the cardinal mind, like in the cardinal body, in the cardinal flesh. And y'all want to know what's crazy? A lot of these things, all of these things, I have experienced, just by living, but also through spiritual warfare. The gluttony, which is the over excessive eating. The sensual, sexual touch, which is lust. The whispers of heinous, wicked, evil things. I've experienced that in the spirit. So yeah, this is definitely very demonic. And basically, they're making a covenant with the devil. That's basically what there is. In each setting, they're making a covenant with the demonic.
Attendees form a single file line in front of the next room's door. There's about 10 other newcomers in front of me and David, and the agent that invited us is standing to the left of the door, and the host of the party is standing to the right. The host has a pile of books on the table next to him. I see the host ask the first person in line a question, and then grab a book based on his answer. He would present the book to the person and place a diamond-shaped metal symbol on top of it, before having them repeat something that he said. Then he'd take their mask off and let them enter the next room. I couldn't make out exactly what he was doing until there was only 2 people ahead of me in line. The books were Bibles, Qurans, Torahs, and so on. He would ask the person, and which one is yours? Whichever they chose, he'd grab it and place the metal symbol on top of it. He'd have you put your hand on top of the metal symbol, and then repeat, I am my own God, I bow to nobody but myself. When I tell you I am done with this party, and I whip my head around and I tell David I am absolutely not doing that. David whispered back in a joking tone like he always does. Dude, it's just a party, who cares? I'll see you in the next room. And he skipped me in line to show me that he'd do it first to make me feel more comfortable. He went through with it and giggled his way into the next room. It was my turn, so I tried to play it cool and whisper to the host, do you mind if I skip this part? It's making me a little bit uncomfortable. I thought he'd subtly break character and reassure me that this is just a party theme and it's all good. Instead, he whispered back to me in a really kind tone, of course man, don't worry about it. Just take your mask off and turn around. I was relieved for about a split second, before the agent that invited me here grabbed my arm and started guiding me towards the exit. And I see that everybody that was behind me in line, staring at me straight-faced. I look back at the host and he's standing up and loudly shouts like he's starting a chant. The price was not paid. And then everybody in line that was staring at me chants in unison like they knew exactly what to do. Remove the profane. And they repeat it over and over until I'm through the exit door. The price was not paid. Remove the profane. The price was not paid. Remove the profane. So the agent just walks me to the closest door. He doesn't even walk me to the front of the party and out the front door. He just puts me out into the backyard. It's 4 a.m. My friend's still inside. I don't have my phone.
So they made them pledge and renounce their God. Baby, no. Baby, absolutely not. It's so many spirits in this situation, like demonic spirits in there, in this party. The people is one of them. The people is under demonic attack, under demonic oppression. So he's surrounded by a bunch of demons, both in the flesh and in the spirit. But the thing about it is that the fact that he knew to let me bounce, because now we are having to denounce our faith. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. My faith is what protects me. Now, I don't know about the other ones, the Quran or anything like that. But definitely, Jesus Christ, I'm not denouncing anything in my Bible at all. So they're having them come into agreement with the devil, denounce their God, so that they can have power over them and make them submissive and slave to their cults or secret society of demonic things.
side to walk around the right side of the house because that's where all of the party attendees were kind of headed. Let me see if I could peek in and maybe flag down David to let him know I got kicked out. And there's some windows to the next room, but of course these windows are like big church stained glass windows, and you can't really see through stained glass windows like the colored ones, but if you go really close and you look through the white parts, you could kind of see clearly what is on the inside. And this room is like a bizarre church replica without all of the seating. It's just a big church-like room, and all of the people that were in there had their masks off, and it was like a big circle, and it almost looked like an initiation, and all of these celebrities are standing around in a circle around the other 9 new people. It was 10 excluding me, and there was big TV grade cameras recording, and it looked like the group of celebrities and everybody else that was there was kind of cheering them on, but then there was clearly people in there that were much more serious and kind of threatening, and the 10 new people were in the middle of this room being forced to do horrible things that I wish I could unsee. And the new people clearly didn't want to do these things. They were being forced to do these things, and they were clearly recording it, and I see my friend being forced to do these horrible things in front of these people and in front of these cameras. I just start panicking. I don't know what to do. So in my head, I'm like, I just need to get out of here. So I start speed walking to the front of the house, and I'm thinking I need to get out of this gate. There's only one street. We're on Laurel Canyon, so it's either I go left and start running towards Studio City, or I go right and start running towards West Hollywood. I'm not about to go knock on other people's doors. I'm just trying to get back to like civilization, and I'm trying to remember if we're closer to Studio City or if we're closer to West Hollywood. I don't even know. As I get to the front of the house, one of the employees is standing there, and he's standing in front of a car, and he has my phone. I'm not sure if he knows that I just saw everything, so I'm kind of standing there deer in headlights, but he just politely goes, here's your phone and here's your ride. Don't worry, the driver will take you home. So I take my phone and I sit in the car, and I'm trying to gauge to see if this driver has any malicious intent, but he doesn't seem to. And within the first 3 minutes, I know that they don't think I saw anything. They were just getting my stuff prepared and my car prepared to take me home, because they're under the impression that I didn't see anything too bad, and I got kicked out before any horrible things started happening to people inside of this party. So I get in the car and I'm checking my phone. My phone was fully charged when I got here, so I don't know what they did, but my phone won't turn on. I have to sit through this 30-minute car ride. One of my best friends is back at this party getting mistreated and recorded doing horrible things, and I can't tell anybody. So I get through this 30-minute horrible, suspense-filled car ride, thinking about all of the people that were so nice to me inside of this party, and the whole intent of this party was to butter me up to get me to do these horrible things. And when I finally get back to my apartment, I run upstairs, I plug my phone into the charger, and the first texts that come through are from my friend Joe. And I completely forgot that my friend Joe was coming to visit me. He was coming on a little mini vacation, and I was going to play tour guide and show him around the city. So now I'm thinking I only have like 4.5 hours to sleep before I have to go pick up my friend from the airport, and I still don't know if my other friend is okay. So I'm blowing up David's phone because he's still at this party, but I set a timer so I get to the airport to pick up my other friend. So I barely get any sleep. I drive to LAX to go pick up Joe, and I drive him back to my apartment, and when I'm coming back into my apartment, David's in the lobby, and he's talking to some other big creators, like bouncing video ideas. It's like 9:30, 10 a.m. at this point, so we're just kind of having coffee by the cafe and chatting. I tell Joe to go upstairs to my apartment and drop off his luggage, and I go ask David if I could talk to him really quick. I'm clearly very distressed, and he's being very jokey with me, and he doesn't seem like anything bad happened, and he's just kind of making fun of me for getting kicked out of the party. I'm just letting him talk for a little bit, and I finally tell him I was looking in through the next window. I saw what they made him do, and I was just asking him if he's okay. And the second I said that, he immediately switched on me, and he started damn near cussing me out and saying friendship-ending things, and his eyes turned from happy and giddy to filled with almost fear and a little bit of betrayal. When he stormed off, he pulled out his phone and he was calling somebody as if he was like reporting something back to them. I immediately start freaking out. I assume that he's telling them that I saw what they did, and now I have my friend upstairs who thinks he's just on vacation when I just saw hyper successful rich people doing unspeakable acts, and they have all of the resources to come after me. They know where I live, and David isn't even on my side because the dirt that they have on him now. I have to pretend that everything's okay to Joe because he flew all the way out here for a vacation, and I don't even really know how bad the situation is. I don't even know how to tell him about everything that happened the night before. And I promised Joe that we were going to go to Runyon Canyon this morning, so he goes and changes into hiking gear, and I drive him over to Runyon Canyon. We do the hike for a few hours, and when we come back and I check my mail, there's another letter from these people, and I take it to the bathroom because I don't even want Joe to see it, and it's a screenshot of the surveillance footage of me looking in through the window, and a little handwritten note, just a reminder of the worst mistake you've ever made. Curiosity killed the cat. And I start freaking out. I know that David just betrayed me and told them that I saw, and now they have proof that I saw. Now I'm just a walking liability to them. And
y'all, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop right there. But didn't I tell y'all curiosity killed the cat? Didn't I tell y'all? Didn't I tell y'all? Didn't I tell y'all? Did I or did I not? So, y'all, This story is very, very deep because this is real life stuff, right? This is real life stuff. People do stuff like this and they think life is just a game. They think it's just fun. They think it's just them living on the wild side or artistic or whatever they think it is. And this is really, really serious. The people who you are being persuaded by know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're bringing you into. And so when we see celebrities that are doing all these demonic things, we have to understand that these celebrities, unfortunately, they may have heinous, disgusting, unspeakable things that have been done to them or that they've done that is probably recorded or filmed. And so we wonder, like, why are they doing all this and why are they doing all that? We don't know what type of demonic oppression they're under. We don't know what type of, what type of control they're under. And this is why we have to pray for people all the time, because it's so easy for us as Christians, as regular people, to judge them and say, why don't they speak out? Why don't they say something? Why don't they expose things that's being done? And we have to understand that if we were in a position, it's easier said than done, that we would expose everything that's being done when we're not in that situation. And this is not to give them any type of excuse, but this is definitely to show celebrities and influencers grace, because when you young, you get into a lot of things and they go after young people. They go after, people who's naive, who's excited, who's happy. Because I can remember whenever I wanted to be, a TV star, and was I willing to do anything and everything? Absolutely not. By the grace of God, he held me and made me confident within who I was, so I didn't, care too much about what I didn't receive. But at the same time, you're excited, you're happy, the idea of being, famous and, being creative and acting and being around all these fun people that you grew up watching is exciting. And so they get distracted by that, then they get easily persuaded. But I'm gonna tell y'all this, I'm gonna leave y'all with this, because I want y'all to know this. If something seems persuasive or pushed upon you in a way where it seems like it can do you harm, please reject it. If something sounds too good to be true, if someone is too pushy, and if someone comes across off as a salesperson or too persuading, it's an absolute no. Please reject. Please reject. Please reject. Do not even give it a second thought. Just reject it and move on. Because I'm going to tell y'all this. When I was growing up, I used to always say this. And this is not something that my mom taught me or anybody in my family taught me, but it's just something I used to always say. It's better to be safe than sorry. I used to just say that since like elementary school, junior high school. It's better to be safe than sorry. People always ask me, Kiana, why you don't do this? Kiana, why you don't do that? You don't ever want to go to this party. You don't ever want to kick it with us doing this. I'm like, because it's better to be safe than sorry. I don't want to get in a situation that I can't get myself out of, or even get in a situation to where I have to fight and claw my way out of it. Why do that when I can just reject the invitation? And I got a story time for y'all. I'm probably not going to tell the story right now, but it's a juicy story, y'all. I think I'm going to do a bunch of story times, because I had so many experiences in my life, and hopefully my experiences can help you guys make the right decisions too. If you're younger than me, or even if you're not younger than me, but you're just still out here just living life and thinking that you're making good decisions, and they fall down, and they don't turn out well for you, then my stories could be very, very helpful. But yeah, it definitely sound like the 7 deadly sins. It sounds like they are getting them to come into agreement with the workings of the devil. It sounds like they are blackmailing them so that they have the ability to extort them if they ever feel like they want to reject or decline anything that society is telling them to do. And it sounds like they're going after younger people, or very hungry, desperate individuals. This is why the Lord says it's never good to be desperate, anxious. You never want to make a decision out of desperation or out of anxiousness, because it's probably the wrong decision to make. I can tell you from experience, any decision that I've made out of being anxious has been the wrong decision. But God has always turned it into a blessing to benefit me and benefit those around me. So, but at the same time, you don't want to just be around here making just, you know, random decisions. Live life and have fun. There's a safe way you can live life and have fun and still be spontaneous. Keep good people around you, people with good morals, people who are also not greedy and chasing money and are willing to do anything and everything just to do it. You know, surround yourself around people who want to have clean, good fun, and just keep those people. And that's it. But pray for these celebrities, pray for these influencers. When you see them going through things, when you see them under demonic oppression, let's pray for them. Let's pray for the ones who have been initiated into this society, that, you know, they come into truth and that they come into true revelation. And, you know, because at the end of the day, you technically can't sell your soul. You can come into agreement with the devil, yes you can, but you can't sell your soul. Your soul belongs to Christ, which is why anytime you decide that you want to repent and submit to Christ, there's nothing the devil can do about that. The devil can try and taunt you and torture you, but he can't do anything once you've given yourself and submitted yourself to Jesus without the authority of Jesus. Remember, the scripture says that even demons tremble at the name of Jesus Christ. Remember, it says that because of Jesus Christ, we can overcome evil. And remember, you know, Jesus sacrificed and died for our sins, so that gives us, by his authority, also the authority to overcome evil and reject the enemy. Resist the enemy and he shall flee. That's legally what has to be done. If you reject the enemy, he shall flee. That there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, he has no choice but to flee. He's under the authority of God Almighty. So the devil is. So what else? Yeah, guys, just pray for these people and don't come into agreement with the enemy. Whenever you sin, whenever you indulge in sinful things, all these things were sinful things: excessive eating, lust, talking and saying heinous things in each other. These are all sins against God. So they were coming into agreement with the devil and renouncing their faith in God, if they had a faith in God in the first place. So yeah, that's all that party was. It was very demonic. And I hope that nobody who watches my videos ever find themselves in that situation. And if you do, just remember, you can always call on Jesus and submit yourself to the Lord. Read the Bible, start worshiping God, ask him to expose things to you, your friends, your relationships, your situation, and obey him and follow him, and you'll be all right. Nothing to be afraid of. Fear God and God only, and that's it. Okay? All right, I will see y'all in my next video. This was pretty long, but I'm gonna see y'all in my next video. And it's probably gonna be, you know, story time, or it's gonna be about definitely spiritual warfare too. I'm getting into that as well. So make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and hit the notification bell to see when I post updates of my next video. I will see you. Love you. Bye. Stay blessed.